Yo, 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 Facebook land. It's Dr. RJ here again today with my good homie, Dr. Dan Sullivan, all the way from North Carolina. Surviving hurricanes, huh?
That's right. That's what we do. No problem.
Always, whether it's air or people, whatever it is, we just constantly survive, don't we?
Adapt. It's called adaptation.
That's something you like to talk about too, man. Exactly. So just super grateful to have Dr. Dan on with me today. I'm super grateful that he said yes to a message I shot to him many months ago in anticipation of this amazing event coming on in October here at the Colorado Chiropractic Association. I've known Dan forever. We were in circles years ago, and we've still stayed in contact. And I always love running into this guy because he's got one of the greatest hearts and minds for chiropractic. So Dan, I'm just super honored and grateful that you said yes.
Man, it's my honor. I am so fired up. I've got I'm busy the fact I've got, the next 6 of the next 7 weekends I'm traveling and concluding with the Colorado. That is a lineup I'm looking to come see and experience myself. So if you're out there and you haven't registered, or if you're on the fence, like, I know there's great college football games. We won't talk about last weekend's, fiasco in Boulder, but as a Husker fan, I'm a Nebraska guy. But, this is a time. I mean, you're going to head into the last part of the year. This is a time that you can come get fed. And ultimately, to me, I look at that lineup and I'm like, man, there's something for everybody. So again, I get excited about partaking and being a part of it.
Yeah, and that's just what we wanted to create, was a diverse lineup. Bring all different camps in, all different philosophies, all different techniques, and just create an awesome place for chiropractors to come and keep chiropractic going. And it's like all this stuff you come out with the brain, and I see the subluxation poster behind you that, my patients love that in my office. It's in my adjusting bays. It makes sense. And it's just giving that hope and insight back to the people. And that's what you're all about. And, when I wanted this, that's why I really wanted you there, for the science, and get the science out and build certainty and confidence in the docs. And, especially the young docs coming out of school, and some of the old docs too that lose it. It's just great to have you there, continually giving back to us so we can keep serving more people.
Yeah, man, I spent a lot of time diving into this. I'm kind of a weird like that. I geek out at the science of chiropractic, not because I'm a guy that sits and looks at research all day. I don't like to do that. That's not my cup of tea. But I do like to walk into any room and know that what I'm saying is true, and I can lay my head on my pillow at night knowing that what I did is a good day's work and I told people the truth. And so I sought for the truth. What is the truth? We know 125 years. Wow, people's lives change. Everything from, you name it, right? Like you name it. Immune system, digestion, breathing, fertility, the whole thing. And of course, the whole crisis of opioids and all that. Like, we know we have something so valuable. We see it, right? But then we get told by the outside that you can't just talk about an anecdotal testimony. That doesn't do it justice in terms of what you can say. So that became something for me. Built a big practice, and I realized I had to look back and be like, am I telling the full truth? And do I even understand the full truth? And so that's what caused me to really dive deep and to understand it on a level that made sense to me so I could communicate it. But then in the midst of that, I realized, if I can help a chiropractor actually better understand this and articulate it simply, now we really could, because that's my rub, Dr. RJ, is that so many people from the outside, or even a lot of times inside, say that we don't have the evidence to back up some of the claims that we make. Now, I'm the first to say we need to stay in our lane. But along with that, the question becomes, what is our lane, right? And based on the science, right, and the research, but I'm going to go through the science, at the end of October there in Colorado. I'm going to go through the science, and we're going to dive in so that you can understand it deeper. So like Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it deep enough. And so I want to get a simple, deep understanding so you can communicate it effectively, so it turns into dollars, cents, results, and influence in your practice.
Yeah, and I think that you touched on right there, man. It's that huge piece of, the science and the research. And, some of the things that I've noticed from you that have blown me away is where you've gone to, I think in University of Nebraska, you went and talked to the medical department, correct? And wasn't it a cardiologist?
Yeah, big research department there. It was a great opportunity, and a lot of PhDs. One of the best well-known PhDs in the land. Irving Zucker was the head editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Medicine in the cardiology portion. And it was a great experience to see where they come from. But more importantly, there's certain aspects of physiology and neurology that they understand, and when we can meet them where they're at, and then say, man, have you ever thought about this? And so I proposed that. It was a good experience to see where they're at. And I feel like beginning to bridge that gap. And it's easier than a lot of us think. And so I get, fired up about that.
Right. But again, the reason it worked is because you had the science, right? Like you went in there, not just stories. Oh yeah, this thing happened. You actually took science, which they all love. And, it's like you said, we have the science. We just have to learn to bridge that gap. And, I think that's huge. I think it was huge for chiropractic. I mean, your research that you put out all the time, the articles, the white pages. Again, I don't want to dig into and do my own research. I want guys like you, all the research out there in our great profession that do it. And I just want to take the nuts and bolts and apply it. So is that sort of what you're going to be bringing to people? Like for anyone listening that's going to be there in October, are they going to be able to leave with stuff that's going to translate into Monday morning?
That's exactly. Listen, I speak a lot around, like I said, in the 6 of the next 7 weekends, I'm on the road, starting this week in Cairo Fest tomorrow. I'll be heading out there. And that is like, I've learned in the last, number of years that, man, it doesn't do me any good. Leave my family, spend the time, get across if it doesn't make a difference. And so I realized, what does it make a difference? What makes a difference is if somebody can have usable information and resources that, to your point, yes, on Monday that this stuff, but at the same time, listen, and we've been in a lot of circles where somebody will say, just say it this way. And you assess that and you realize, how come 10 chiropractors can say the exact same thing and get completely different results? And that's what drives me. It's like, if we know that over 80% of communication is nonverbal, then if I can sit down with a room with you, like we'll do, and I can get across to you and show you some of the evidence, and more importantly, what it means, and bridge some gap for you of how we could better communicate that. Now on Monday, you walk in with some ways to actually maybe communicate, but more importantly, this depth of like, what? I've got a certainty. My shoulders are high, my head's high, my handshake is firm because I know the value that I have and what's underneath my hands every time I make adjustment. So that's my point. And to your point, yes, we're going to give some to-do stuff for Monday.
Dude, I wish it was next weekend, man. I'm already jazzed up. I want all that right now just from talking to you. So
well, listen. And here's the thing. I'm around quite a bit. It's still, there's this undertone of fear in our profession. And I'm not saying there's not a time and a place to have our due diligence. So I love what you're doing, Dr. RJ, like bridging people together and pulling people together and taking charge, because it has to be one politically, and it has to be one that we've got to have a pony in that race. But at the same time, I will not back down to the person that says we don't have the evidence to support what we do. And it just drives me crazy, because it's like, listen, if you understand human physiology and the science that we learn in chiropractic college, and you are able to understand what happens with the spine. I'll give you an example. The spine's relationship with the central nervous system is the reason why any of it matters. And we have that evidence, that relationship, and we just improve that relationship. Subluxation just become something that we knew occurs. Thankfully, some people found that out, started, pushing on some backs, and we got some response. It allowed the science to then say, wow, how does this make sense? Why does this make sense? And then if I know that, I don't have to carry this burden of chiropractic. I'm not going to go prove chiropractic to somebody. I'm going to begin with, if you understand the spine and its relationship to the nervous system, then you're going to understand chiropractic well. Listen, we could take chiropractic out of it. That relationship still exists. So Absolutely. Now the better we understand that, now we go into our communities and say, you know what? I don't know. It doesn't matter what you thought about this thing called chiropractic. What we do is this, and this is, again, thankful for chiropractic that we actually have a vehicle called a profession that addresses this condition right in the spine.
Absolutely. And it's like, I think for a lot of people, they look at science and they don't like it, and they just want to get into marketing and do Facebook stuff and do all this stuff and get their voice out. But, the interesting thing is that science is the marketing. Right? Like that's what you can market, because you can't take that away. It's like you said, the nervous system, the brain is the same in every body. We all have that. So that's marketing, and you just have to make it sexy. And science isn't the sex factor that sells, and that doesn't bring people to events, but it all comes back to that of, if you learn the science, that can be a new formal way of marketing that, I'm just hearing you. I'm like, oh yes, like I'm ready for this, because now I get an insight to say, I can reach more people because now I understand the science better.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And to that point, man, again, what you're doing is great. I believe it's so vital that, and I've fought this for many years. I probably justified it on the other side. Well, I don't need to be a part of that or be a part of that, but the organizations, associates, and state, like we have to be a part of that. We cannot deny that. Yes, grassroots is going to happen, and build the practice is important, and all that's vital. All of it's vital. But at the same time, taking a step and contributing. And part of, like, it's simple. If you're a doc out there, part of your contribution is literally just showing up. you're going to feed yourself, but you're also going to be part of this team moving forward and state by state. That's just how it's set up. So again, thank you, Dr. RJ, for kind of leading the charge to be a part of this.
Yeah, and got to give shout out to my entire board. The education committee, they stood behind me when I brought this change forward and said, here's what I want to do, here's my vision. And they were all like, yeah, let's do this. And the big reason I wanted to create something like this was to, like you said, Dr. Dan, was to have more people come and join the Colorado Chiropractic Association. And I was like you, for years, I was on the outside, I was looking in, I didn't like what I saw, and I was talk. And then, me being the Canadian I am, I put talk into action, from guys like you and seeing what you're doing and all of the mentors and people I had in my life. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to make a change, I need to shut up and show up. And so again, I want to see our membership grow huge in Colorado. And if you don't like something, then join the association and become part of it and make your voice be heard. Because like I said to you earlier, before getting on this, is I've learned a lot in joining this association. I realized that I can't have it all my way, but I'm just here to be a vehicle source for all the chiropractors in my district that are in Colorado. Like, hey, I don't like this. Then I come to the board and I bring it up. And I'm not afraid to take on when people reach out to me and say, hey, I don't like what's the board want to do? Then I bring it to the board. And again, like you said, I just want more people joining the board. So if you're in Colorado listening this and you don't pay dues to the Colorado Chiropractic Association, message me and I'll get you a link to do that. And we'll actually get you saving more money on registering for the convention. And again, just tell them again why Dr. Dan, they need to join. Like, I mean, you're a big guy that's involved in a lot of aspects and a lot of organizations. And, I think you said it right, that they need to be part of it.
Yeah. And there's room for everybody, right? Like, again, I don't call it wisdom in our old age, but you just start to see, like, how do you make real change? Your initial kind of the first years is like, I'm a renegade. I'm going to go make it happen. Come hell or high water. We're going to go, change the world. Right. And then you realize slowly but surely, if I have to look at the reality, it's going to take a team, and then it's going to take a group, and it's going to take a bigger team. And I think if you sit there and you say, you know what, well, here's the thing, if you're going to have a voice and you're going to have an opinion, like put it in the pot. And the pot is, hey, let's have a voice. Let's be a part of this organization. And man, we need everybody. There's room for everybody. There's room for everybody. We have more in common than we have. And some won't say this. I'll say it 100%. We have so much more in common, and we don't have the luxury, in my opinion. It's not to point something bad out or negative or judge you. It's just saying, man, we could do so much more together. And it does take money, and it does take effort and energy and your time and resources. So be a part. It's just, again, we can't say it any other way, but just be a part of it. Really, it's like the guys like you that are putting in the time. I look at you and I'm like, wow, if I don't have to do all that, all the time that goes into that, but I could just be a member and I can kind of have my voice be heard. It's a good, noble thing. It's kind of like following, what you would do, but not. So I think that by you stepping up again, you caused that wave of people to come in. And so again, yes, we're pleading to you, saying, hey, let's all get in this together. There's a room for everybody. It doesn't mean you got to have this level of thinking or this type of practice or this level of philosophy. Just saying, hey, let's all move in one direction. We all want this thing called more people to experience and have an opportunity to hear about the benefits of chiropractic and experience them if they so choose. They won't experience them if they don't know what they are. And we have this, one of the things I'm going to talk about, again, the mess of a craziness called, the opioid crisis, and nobody disagrees with it. I'm going to shine some light on that nobody's talking about, and ultimately some evidence that supports, the value that we bring to the table. And that's just an entrance, an entrance for people to come into our practices and experience the benefits that chiropractic can have. So yeah, just be a part of it.
Yeah. And, that's well said. I can't say anything more to that. So again, October, the code's flying around the bottom. You can hop on coloradochiropractic.org. Register today. You can use the code Dr. Dan. He'll actually save you some money because he was our guest today on registration. These are full day registrations to get that deal. You get all your CEs. We got CPR and documentation on Sunday. But like you were saying earlier, man, this lineup it's big. There's a lot of powerhouse speakers that are going to share. And, the biggest thing people think all the time when they go to convention might get sold from stage. No, there's not going to be any of that. People are just going to come pour their hearts out. You're going to leave Monday better than you were Saturday and Sunday. And it's just because of people like you that they're putting this level in the game. So again, we're super appreciative of you, Dr. Dan, and all you do in the science behind it, and the certainty and the brain stuff. It's going to be an amazing event. So again, if you're on the fence, like Dr. Dan said, get registered. show up in Colorado. It's a beautiful place. It's going to be awesome weather in Colorado, so people from your home state of Nebraska can come and hang out with cool kids in Colorado. But there might be some bad taste coming back from last weekend, but I won't go there again on you at all. So yeah, with that being said, Dr. Dan, I super appreciate you taking out the time today to be on here. Any final things you want to share before we get on with our day today?
Yeah, I would just say get there. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at I go, again, I'm speaking to a lot of different places. The lineup that's here that you put together, Doc, like, it's pretty impressive. It's something for everybody. It's going to hit on all aspects of practice. And again, being a speaker, I'm like, man, that's a great lineup. I mean, how to communicate, the business side, the practice side, the certainty side, strategies in how to get, build a practice, like the whole thing. So it's your best bang for your buck. And I don't just say that. You can't go to a lot of the bigger conventions that are, specifically not, state associated and get some of the stuff that you're going to get here. And so it's going to be a good event. Get there.
And, that's back to the BJ quote, a small thing creates a huge ripple effect. And, that's the biggest thing I've taken away from every single person I've done a Facebook Live with. That's the number one thing they said is, I can't wait to see these speakers. So, if my speakers can't wait to hear speakers, that it's something you should get on board with too. So, our seats are going quickly. We're selling more than we thought we would be at this point in time. So they're going fast. It's the final weekend in Colorado. So make sure you get out there, you get registered, get your ticket, and we'll see you guys all in October in Colorado, and come rub elbows with Dr. Dan. He's going to be hanging around and you get some insight and wisdom from him. And I can't wait to hang out with you, man. And I just look forward to it. So I appreciate you so much. You have a blessed day. Say hi to the fam and the wife and kids for me, and we'll see you soon, brother.
I will. Thanks, buddy. You too, man. Have a great day.
All right. Take care, guys.